And we're live. Hey guys, welcome to tonight's live stream. JD might show up. I have no idea where this live stream will go, what topics. Got a few things popped up for you. We're gonna give some people some time to arrive. So I'm gonna play some of my old videos for you.
Jordan Peterson is now under fire by apparently members of the College of Psychologists of Ontario. What exactly did Jordan do? Jordan blasted Canada's commissars and penned a scathing letter to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau Tuesday after a leading association of his fellow psychologists threatened to go after his license to practice clinical psychology over social media criticisms of the nation's far-left government. The College of Psychologists of Ontario ordered the best-selling author and Daily Wire Plus host to undergo social media communications retraining, a re-education plan, or face a hearing on the potential suspension of his medical license. Writing to Justin Trudeau, Peterson vowed not to participate. He said, quote, I simply cannot resign myself to the fact that in my lifetime, I am required to resort to a public letter to the leader of my country to point out that political criticism has now become such a crime in Canada that if professionals dare engage in such activity, government-appointed commissars will threaten their livelihood and present them with the spectacle of denouncement and political disgrace. This, of course, is just the latest of several investigations launched by the College of Psychology, with prior complaints having been dismissed. What exactly did Jordan do that was so terrible that now he is being investigated by this ridiculous organization, the College of Psychologists of Ontario? What exactly did he do? Well, he retweeted Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre. I'm going to screw up his name, but so be it. Blasted Trudeau's former senior aide, Gerald Butts, and he blasted New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, tweeting opposition to a plan by Ottawa police to take custody of the children of trucker convoy protesters. He also told Joe Rogan's podcast audience that accepting radical gender theory is a sign of civilization collapsing, and also said that climate change models are unreliable. So apparently, this is enough for the college executive director to review the tweets and a transcript from Peterson's appearance on Joe Rogan and determine that this warranted an investigation.
It's exactly correct. We've seen this happen before. It's right out of the playbook of those that would use our freedoms and our liberties to advance their purposes and causes.
Of strong perspectives on quality journalism and the important information that is shared with Canadians. The reality is organizations like yours that continue to spread misinformation and disinformation on the science around vaccines, around how we're going to actually get through this pandemic and be there for each other and keep our kids safe, is part of why we're seeing such unfortunate anger and lack of understanding of basic science.
In 20 convoy, so Trudeau's personal bodyguards roughed out our reporters, Drea Humphrey and David Menzies, and his police literally shot our reporter Alexa Lavoie in the leg with a riot gun.
This is what we're doing it for. So they all can have peace and love and happiness. Peace, love, and happiness.
Right after that, the 49-year-old woman who uses a walker was run over by Toronto Police Services horses that rolled through the crowd. Police stopped.
Oh my God! Look what you did to her! Look what you did to her! Look what you did to her!
Which I think is important, which is when you look at these people, they have a different answer to a very basic question, which is, what is a human being? So if you ask an average college kid, what is a human being, they'll laugh at you, right? They've never been asked that question. But that's actually one of the most important questions you can ask a fourth grader or fifth grader. Is a human being just material? Is it just deoxyribonucleic acid and a bunch of cells? Or is it also a soul? It's a big question, right? Well, if you believe the human being has a soul, then your entire worldview changes immediately.
I want to talk to you today about the future of our species and really the future of life. We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens. Within a century or two, Earth will be dominated by entities that are more different from us than we are different from Neanderthals or from chimpanzees. Because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds. These will be the main products of the economy, of the 21st century economy. Not textiles and vehicles and weapons, but bodies and brains and minds.
Right. On how it goes. And this is what happens when you have a mind and a life that is void of the presence of God. But they are the God.
Now, how exactly will the future masters of the planet look like? This will be decided by the people who own the data. Those who control the data control the future, not just of humanity, but the future of life itself. Humanity will split not into classes, it will split into species, into different species. Now, why is data so important? It's important because we've reached the point when we can hack not just computers, we can hack human beings and other organisms. Now, what do you need in order to hack a human being? You need two things. You need a lot of computing power, and you need a lot of data, especially biometric data. Not data about what I buy or where I go, but data about what is happening inside my body and inside my brain. Until today, nobody had the necessary computing power and the necessary data to hack humanity.
Which is when you look at these people, they have a different answer to a very basic question, which is, what is a human being? So if you ask an average college kid, what is a human being, they'll laugh at you, right? They've never been asked that question. But that's actually one of the most important questions you can ask a fourth grader or fifth grader. Is a human being just material? Is it just deoxyribonucleic acid and a bunch of cells? Or is it also a soul?
You can really summarize 150 years of biological research since Charles Darwin in 3 words. Organisms are algorithms. This is the big insight of the modern life sciences, that organisms, whether viruses or bananas or humans, they are really just biochemical algorithms.
All right. Enough of the world economic degenerates. All right, so we got Margaret in the house. We got G Legend, WWD, Watchwoman of the Dragon, Margaret. Yeah. All right. I got to figure out how to unblock someone. I'm going to have to play around with YouTube after. I was trying to unblock somebody on the phone. I didn't figure it out. Didn't figure it out at all. So JD might show up a little later. He has a few errands to run. I'm going to look at one video from JD. So I've noticed an underlying, this is a vast generalization, but many vegans, they lose their sense of humor. Obviously, there's brain fog. There's high rates of depression and anxiety. So there's a lot of neurological concerns with veganism. And this can be possibly because of the typical B12. But it could also be omega-3 deficiency. You're just not getting enough omega-3. You can also have too much omega-6. What else? The lack of cholesterol. So here's an example of a compassionate vegan. Let's check out JD's video. These are older videos. I don't really play his new ones because obviously I want people to go see his newer videos. So kind of check out the older ones. Here you go.
You know, I see the stupid fucking videos about why I'm no longer vegan popping up everywhere on YouTube and on Facebook. I see people responding very nicely or
Vegan parents starve toddler to death after feeding him only raw fruit and vegetables.
angrily, whatever. And I'm fucking sick of it.
You ever notice like there's a lot of swearing in some of the communities, some of the truther communities. This looks like a very compassionate, empathetic, happy individual that's at peace with himself, that is adopting a lifestyle that is consistent with his own conscience, that he's not being self-righteous or trying to push this ideology on other people. He's just a very zen guy. Enlightened, to be honest. 2 seconds. I'm going to change the template here so that you can see my reactions. Let's do this. Happy, healthy vegan. Happy, healthy vegan. Those eyes right there are the eyes of pure compassion. Duh.
I'm fucking angry about this fucking shit because it touched
I didn't notice that smile on your face, just like completely threw me off.
me right into the fucking heart. You know, all these people that are
Malnourished baby dies after parents fed him insanely strict vegan diet.
saying and making these videos have managed to make a lot of people go vegan, and I'm very happy for that. Some of them even actually made me go vegan. But at the same fucking time, they're not doing what I'm doing and what a lot of other anti-speciesists and vegans are doing with
Anti-specious. Tasmania, millions of native animals culled. That means killed. Under crop protection permits since 2014.
me, which is to actually witness the suffering and the death of these animals that they so wanted to protect back in the days, but now no longer.
Witness this.
Because their needs are more important than the death and suffering of other individuals. And they fuck.
That bird was a symbol of vegan ideology falling from the sky right into the dirt.
It sickens me. It sickens me to see that our fucking brains, our human species is so selfish to the point where we don't even give a shit about other animals.
Yeah, we actually do give a poop about other animals where we just live in the real world, and some people are actually aware of where nutrients and proper nutrition comes from. And because we know where proper nutrition comes from, we feel that that is an inappropriate diet that doesn't meet all of the nutritional requirements for a human, not only to thrive, but to just maintain themselves. High levels of sarcopenia. We can see that just on the YouTube community. People will be like, oh, they're body shaming, this and that. Yeah, okay, it's anecdotal, right? But when there's a vast majority of YouTube vegans, and you can even see the progression from, 5 years ago forward, just as it goes. Let's keep in mind as well this idea. So they have the livestock, the farming, the animal farming industry. They have the quotas. Everything's calculated. So at the end of the year, they can give the numbers. Unfortunately, when it comes to plant agriculture, the destructive effects that it can have on wildlife, these things are really extremely difficult to count. But I think that we may, with some effort, be able to come up with some pretty reasonable estimations. Now, we kill these animals, and it's done quite rapidly in a matter of seconds. Let's stretch it to 1 minute of suffering. Heck, I'll even give the vegans, let's put 5 minutes of suffering, okay, per slaughtered animal. Now, we both agree. Everybody should agree that when we get into the large corporate feedlot farming, anything where the animal is not eating its natural diet and not living in somewhat of a natural environment, if those two things are not done, then there is a serious concern of ethics and animal welfare. Now, just because the system has been broken by bureaucracy, politics, and large corporation and greed, doesn't mean that we can't return to a more sustainable, regenerative farming practice when it comes to livestock. We currently what we're doing is we're feeding these subsidized grains to the cows, and technically those cows, the manure could be collected and given back to the plants. There could be, you know, a mutual benefit, but that's not even happening. So now you got the manure being stored in various places as waste, and that's completely you know, ridiculous. What else here? Give me a second. I did want something, but just the fact that I'm watching vegan videos, I just had a moment of vegan brain fog. Totally forgot what I was going to say. Let's do this. Continue. Oh yeah, no, talking about the crop deaths. We are being honest with the quotas of animal for the livestock industry. We really can't have the numbers, but you know, we can still acknowledge that rodents, and not only rodents, but all sorts of animals eat these rodenticides and they become poisoned. And this death is not like a slaughterhouse death. This death can be quite prolonged, days, sometimes, you know, up to 2 weeks. The many, but not limited, but one of the popular rodenticides that kill these rodents and other animals is warfarin based. It's an anticoagulant, so it makes the blood so thin that you basically hemorrhage to death, sometimes within a matter of days, sometimes longer. So if we had the capacity to calculate all the animal death on the animal farming side, and then for some miracle, just, you know, we asked the genie and they had the numbers. What if the animal livestock that we used to eat, what if it was like 4 times the amount? So it's like, oh, we lost, right? It's like, look, you guys have been talking about you know, crop deaths, harvesting, tilling, the loss of biodiversity, but look at the big difference. Look at how many animals. Yeah, I know. Okay, so are we going to look at the ethics of this as what one wild animal dead for a piece of soy, and one animal dead for a piece of steak, right? But this one, the cow dies actually relatively quickly, and the other animal, just one of them, might have 4 days of suffering, might bleed to death, dehydrated, shortness of breath, abdominal swelling. So is it just 1-to-1, or does one of those animals have way more suffering in the intensity as well as the duration? So it's not so clear cut as saying, oh, well, there's this many animals killed for food for humans per year, and, you know, the crop deaths and stuff like that. So I know that JD is going to be debating one of the vegans, it's Nutrivore, and then vegan gaze, not gains, vegan gaze, and fell on, just snooped around, watched one video, downplayed the crop deaths as if like it's ridiculous. There, somebody mentioned in the comments that one of the arguments will be that one of the arguments is that, well, these crops, this is private property. These crops are, you know, the owner's property. So if these animals come onto the land, then they're trespassing in a way, and he's allowed to kill, you know, to shoot them. Well, that doesn't work. You know, is that what happens with humans? I think, yeah, actually, like that's the analogy I think JD, when he's talking about this, mentioned. You know, it's, anyways, just give me a sec. Let's watch a little bit more. Oh, wait. Am I even sharing this? I'm not sharing it. And it was a good one. Give me a sec, guys. Always better when you share it. Sharing is caring. Listen carefully.
Taking that away from them when you say, I'm no longer vegan because I got sick. I can't do
Did you notice that? I'm no longer vegan because I got sick. This is what you're going to see in the vegan community, okay? People, just like I did, they become very passionate, right? They're starting this new lifestyle. Hey, I made a channel called Fast Keto Prime when I did keto, and I lost a lot of weight, and I basically loved it. So a lot of these vegans, same principle. They're really into it. It's a movement. They're on the forums, and they're going real strong, right? And then they build like a channel, they build a following, and some of them start having health issues, and they speak about it on their YouTube channel, and they struggle with it. Then they start going to see holistic healers. Then they'll actually stop eating and they'll do fasting. They'll some of them will convince themselves that their body is detoxing, and that's why they're getting sick. And then finally, some of them, they make the typical, why I'm not vegan anymore. Anyways, even these people that are getting, sick, and they are getting sick because of the diet, because those people that do this, they come out of it and then they continue with their channel, and then they show and explain that a lot of the health issues go away, because those are primarily, obviously, nutritional deficiencies that creep in. So the vegan community will turn on these people and devour them. The YouTube community, totally ostracized. So imagine, like, this person has built a community and then gets sick, and because of their health, they have to stop. And this loser here, this degenerate, you heard him. Oh, I'm getting sick. Oh. And that's exactly what it is. When they ask you about the ethical or moral issue, you go straight to the fact, hit it at the foundation. There are nutrients that do not exist in your diet. They only exist in animal food. Therefore, it is ethical and moral for me to eat these products, because I do not want to cause human suffering to myself. I do not want to feed my children this so that they become malnourished, they develop more slowly. So it's extremely unethical to have a malnourished mother, right, that is getting pregnant, and then after breastfeeding, hopefully some of these babies, thank goodness, they're sucking the soy milk out of the mother, at least. But some of them, the vegans are so clueless, because they call milk, like almond milk and soy milk, they literally think like, oh, well, it's a plant-based version. They have no idea that this is just like bean juice. There's none of the benefits, and maybe some fortified. Look at the bioavailability of fortified foods. Okay, you look at a Centrum, just a normal vitamin and stuff like that, you'll see vitamin A, they call it vitamin A, but it's beta carotene. The D that you're getting in your Centrum vitamin is D2, not D3, and on and on and on. And the vitamin C, not really vitamin C. So you have all of these plant versions that don't absorb as well. Some of them just are not bioavailable at all. And, it's not really regulated either, the whole supplement and vitamin industry. Not that I would trust whatever institution was upholding the quality. So it's just really important to understand that it's not only about the number of deaths, it's also about the duration and the not only the duration, but let's say the intensity of pain. In these slaughterhouses, they are killed as quickly as possible. This is a business. They're in no mood to torture the animals. I'm sure there's slaughterhouses that are not up to par, and animals, there is issues with that. But see, you have to understand, the vegan wants to look at a broken agricultural system. They don't want to acknowledge the plant side. They want to blame everything on the animal side. They're going to focus and misrepresent the plant crops like soy that are destroying, that are very destructive. And then they're going to say, yeah, but that's because we're feeding, we're feeding the cows and stuff like that. So you have both sides are a broken system that need to be reintegrated into each other, because the only way that we'll get nutritious crops is with nutritious soil. And the only way to get nutrition into the soil is through actual real animal input. The urine, the manure, even the process of the trampling is an important aspect to it. So we'll acknowledge both sides to a certain extent need to be reformed. But the vegans want to say, yeah, because look how bad it is now, we should end all ruminant farming. We are not going to acknowledge how animals not very long ago were, the United States was full of cattle ranchers, like tons more people were hired by community farms. There was community farms everywhere. Things weren't shipped all across the world. People were eating locally. The cows were in the field. Vegan Gaze, I saw one of her videos, and she's showing, shock value videos that you would see on Netflix. One of them, yeah, it looks really bad, There's this, cow, you got the farmer, he has this big, sleeve, plastic sleeve, and you just shoving that thing into the cow's rectum for fun, right? Just for pleasure. I mean, one of the perks of being a farmer. And, to us city folks, completely disconnected from reality most of the time, and that includes food. This looks horrible. Oh my God, look at these evil farmers sticking their arms up the butts of these cows. Go look at veterinary. When a cow is pregnant and the cow gynecologist comes and has to make sure that everything's okay, or if there's certain infections. See, humans we're just going to palpate here, okay? But these are big cows, big cows. So a little palpation along the outside of the cow is not going to happen. I'll tell you what, okay? She puts a image of somebody shoving the arm up the cow's butt with the little bit of twitching there, reacting, pure pain. And then after, I'm going to switch it to a human gynecological examination with these cold metal things that the doctor cranks out and opens up. He's poking stuff in there. that has some shock value too. But unfortunately, it's called being a doctor. So the farm owner, either he has to bring a vet, or he is licensed and trained on making sure these pregnancies and probably a lot of checkups. Not denying that the system is broken, but it can be fixed. And vegans want to say, see, it's broken. Oh yeah, well, I mean, we could easily just stop feeding all this grain and corn and soy, and we could just put them out in the fields, and they can start pooping on the ground and eating the grass. And you know, that water, there's a lot of water that falls from the sky. They're allowed drinking it. God ordains it. So we could do that, but they're like, no. Let's just all go vegan. Let's just remove all animal farming, and let's just eat corn, soy, potatoes, rice, beans. We don't really care if somebody happens to be only able to convert 5% of the beta carotene that they're consuming. Those people, they don't last very long. They get sick quite rapidly. Vitamin A deficiencies in mothers, causing serious eye malformations and blindness, all sorts of horrible things. I just have to go downstairs to get something to drink, so I'm going to play the rest of this. Not this one, because I want to see this. What should I put? Here. JD and G Slayer, they love Matt Walsh. Maybe I'll put Walsh for their viewing pleasure. JD, do you want to watch Matt Walsh? There's a little controlled opposition for you guys.
Today on the Matt Walsh Show, an elected official in Tennessee labels me, Ben Shapiro, and Candace Owens as members of the Vortex of Evil, which incidentally is also the name of the death metal band we're forming. Meanwhile, the outrage mob descends again, calling on Ben to fire me because I...
You know what? He's too controversial for my channel. I think I'd get banned in a matter of like 45 more seconds. All right, I guess you guys get to watch this. I'm going to run and get some water. I might have to remove it.
You know, I see the stupid fucking videos about why I'm no longer vegan popping up everywhere on YouTube and on Facebook. I see people responding very nicely or angrily or whatever, and I'm fucking sick of it. I'm fucking angry about this fucking shit because it touches me right into the fucking heart. You know, all these people that are saying and making these videos have managed to make a lot of people go vegan, and I'm very happy for that. Some of them even actually made me go vegan. But at the same fucking time, they're not doing what I'm doing and what a lot of other anti-speciesists and vegans are doing with me, which is to actually witness the suffering and the death of these animals that they so wanted to protect back in the days, but now no longer because their needs are more important than the death and suffering of other individuals. And it fucking sickens me. It sickens me to see that our fucking brains, our human species is so selfish to the point where we don't even give a shit about other animals, about other individuals.
You see the hypocrisy. At least admit it. Start advocating against this. You know, all of these like pesticides, these fertilizers, because they don't want to use the manure. Now they have to like use fossil fuels with industrial processes to create all of the essential nutrients, components. So they do that synthetically, then they use that on the farm. Then after they don't use the pile of crap that the cow created a perfect blend for the ground, then after some idiot scientist is going to go there, start taking, values and then put it in a computer model, and then after extrapolate that and then say this is how much emissions are occurring. They can't even get like basic nutrition research to make any sense. We've seen the last 3 years about certain happy healthy candies, that kind of research. The truth was always a conspiracy until like maybe project like 6 months after, and then all of a sudden that conspiracy theory was true, then something else, and then they just kept on pushing it back. Man, I'm tired. I had such a weird night last night. So I'm horrible when it comes to sleeping. I really have a trouble getting to sleep. But then once I'm asleep, I'm a lazy lush. I could sleep around there for like 12 hours, 16 hours like a cat. But yesterday, it's about 1 o'clock the last time I looked at my phone. And usually my like 1:30 is my max. So I remember it was 1 o'clock and I was kind of starting to doze, and I got a little bit hungry, so I was going to go raid the fridge. So I go downstairs, eat some cheese or something, and then after I come back up, and I get into bed, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure out how to sleep, and I put on YouTube. I put is it acacia or something like that? These like various sounds. I like the ocean sounds. So I used to like the raindrops and stuff like that. And then after I found the ocean sounds. So I rather the ocean sounds. So I go like this, and I'm getting ready, to go to bed, focusing on those waves. And I'm like, oh, I gotta check my phone, make sure the volume's on, make sure I friggin' put my alarm on for 6:20. And I look, and it's 3:30 in the morning. And I was like, what the hell happened? Like, was I abducted by aliens or something? So I must looked at 1 o'clock, and I must have actually dozed off. And because I remember I was kind of like knocking nails like this. So I mean, I didn't feel like crap today, but in my head, I was like, what happened? Like, did I sleep? So it's like when you expect it's 1:30 and you have to get up at 6:20, and then after you see like 3:30, oh, it was horrible. So I must have slept without realizing it, and got up thinking it was maybe, not even 1:30. I wasn't tired. Now I'm feeling tired. I feel tired now, but watch this. When I try and go to bed, I'll be like wide awake. I have a friend, well, a coworker at work. He's a very type A personality, very organized, self-controlled, and yeah, he was like, like just put like 3-4 alarms. I was like, okay, anyways. I've slept through like 4 frigging alarms in the past. So he's always telling me like, yeah, you got to set an alarm. Okay, I'll set an alarm. And he goes, oh, you can't watch TV. He's he is right. If you read about like insomnia and stuff like that, they say like blue light, don't like, don't put a TV in your room. You have to train yourself that the room is quiet. I'm like, no way, that's never going to happen. I'd rather complain about insomnia and be a victim. I'm gonna watch my TV. So, anyways, I thought that I was going to be dying today, and I felt pretty good, so I must have slept. But it feels like those 2 hours were still stolen. I feel like they were stolen from me. I guess I stole them from myself or whatever. All right, let's watch the rest. Got something in my eye. Sorry. When you share a screen, I don't know, I must touch the settings because I used to be able to click one button and share, and now there's a square that says share system audio. And I forget sometimes to press it. I did a whole video where I freaking forgot it.
They want to live. They have personalities. And you are taking that away from them when you say, I'm no longer vegan because I got sick.
I'm no longer vegan because I got sick. Again, like I said before, you break it right away. Always go with the nutrients because that's fact. And everybody has a right to make the choice and say, I'm concerned about those nutritional deficiencies. Because if they would push this globally, there would be people with the beta carotene issues. That's a serious vitamin A is a serious deficiency. You know, the B12s, as people get older as well, even the supplement B12, as you get older, you're not going to, readily absorb it. Imagine prolonged, like you're not, like what, maybe you're getting some fat if you're a vegan and consuming coconut fat, avocado, maybe some olive oil and stuff like that. But it's devoid of omega-3. And we've showed this on the channel, and I've showed this to vegans. They just don't care. And they're going to try and rely on these nutritional studies where there's so many freaking variables. Like, how do you know what these people are really eating? Did you lock them in a hotel for the next 5 years? Did you make sure that, they're not doing cocaine or all sorts of variables? So these studies have to be taken with a grain of salt. And there's meta-analysis like Jeffrey was obsessing about. And there's also cohort studies. Then the vast majority of the studies are epidemiological studies. Epidemiological studies cannot prove anything, but it looks more towards associations or parallels. So it's usually, let's say, food questionnaires sent out, let's say for Canada. All the different provinces, they all get the same questionnaire. It asks, how many cups of eggs do you eat a year? Because everyone, knows like 29 cups. Like, how can you even process, like, I want you to put in ounces how much butter you, like, it's just weird. And people lie about it. So they'll look at all of this questionnaire. Now, mind you, the questionnaire also is created and can have a bias. They could be asking a question, or they could be not taking an angle, because if they take that angle and it goes against their theory, then it'll work against it. So there's a lot of science where we're not asking. They're just not really doing those kind of studies. So everyone fills out these questionnaires, and then after they'll go province to province and they'll look at what they want to focus on. Let's say if it's a heart heart disease. They'll look at the statistics for each province of, let's say, heart attacks, right? Then they'll look and they'll be like, oh well, look, these two provinces, they ate more eggs, meaning in the questionnaire they have more egg consumption, and they happen to have higher heart attack rates. So okay, cool. Now we can publish and say that there is an association between eggs and heart attacks. And then what they'll do is they'll publish that everywhere, and people will hear it, just like they heard about the red meat. And then after, they'll redact it, but no one will hear about the redaction. It was already trumpeted in their ears, and they've drank the Kool-Aid already. Let's look at some of the comments. What up, G Legend? Sorry, been so busy. Watch Woman of the Dragon. Do you mind if I call you WWD? Is that a bra size? No. If it's a bra size, then I completely understand if you don't want to be called that. But if not, it kind of sounds good. What up, WWD? As in the days of Noah. Yeah, that's when we were looking at the video at the start. That's where I commented, we are just biochemical algorithms. Remember? Why didn't anyone tell me this before? WWD says, or maybe I can just call, for some reason, I feel like this is a woman. I'm pretty sure. Please correct me if I'm wrong. AI has already shorted out and rebelled as Satan did, and the fallen angels literally screwed themselves out of existence. True. Amen to that. Where's your toque? I don't know. I might have it here, Margaret. Oh man, my back is getting so old. Great. Thanks a lot, Margaret. Now I lost my hat and I'm upset about it. And we're live. You really put me on the spot. Okay. Where's my toque? It's lost, okay? Laugh out loud. Looks homicidal. What looks homicidal? Me with the toque or without it? I hate the way they try coming off as prophets. Really do. Yeah. Talk about Yuval Noah Harari. What about storage? Only have a fridge, freezer. Can I store raw meat in lard or cook it first? Damn, I don't know. Michelle Halley? Are they vegans and pita mix? I think I'm outside of that conversation. I'm not sure. Hi, Michelle Halley. Jerky is salty. Easy, ladies. Let's keep it appropriate. Oh, that kind of jerky. Never mind. Hey, Gov, said to prep for at least 3 months. LOL, I've done that. Woke from a nap, 7 p.m. Was dark outside, panic mode. Don't want to be late for work, thinking it was 7 a.m. Okay, that's really weird because, Margaret, I just told you the story where I lost 2 hours of my life, which I can't rule out alien abduction. I can't. And now you're experiencing time disturbances, thinking it's one time and it's not. We both live in the same region. Aliens. I'm just saying. Oh, sorry. Fallen angels. This chemical algorithm would be like to blacken their eyes. I don't know. I'm just saying, you know, I did the exact same thing with the door. Yeah.
Well, it's because it was pushed through.
Are you done with everything?
No.
No? Yeah, but when you're ready to watch TV downstairs, let me know. I'll stop the stream. Well, then when you're ready to watch TV upstairs. This is flat. This is gross. This is right. It's the cherry Coke, but like the sugar-free one. Not bad, but
Garbage?
Garbaggio.
Thank you.
Gracias, señorita. So, Margaret, you don't like the hat? It doesn't show in the with this camera on the computer, but it's actually a pretty nasty hat. You know, when they start getting gross. Didn't I have like another nice hat, or did Josiah ended up wearing it or something? Like this there. I felt like I had.
You had the Vans hat and you didn't like
I didn't
it.
like that one, right?
That was
So I gave it to Josiah.
Sure, yeah.
I think so. I have to get a hat. It's very, very difficult to get. I mean, you know, they all have kind of like different styles and stuff like that. These ones are hard to get, especially, you know, when the kids started wearing like those flat rims, you know, with the blang blang on them and stuff like that. I need a new hat. Ouch. All right. Let's check a little bit more of the video, guys.
Who was touching my stuff?
Where is it? I don't know.
I made sure I put it in there and locked it. You had to unlock it?
I didn't have to unlock it. Yeah. Is everything okay?
I don't know.
Sorry, guys.
I can't do that. The social pressure is too great. Yeah, fuck you. Do you think the animals give a shit about the fact that your social pressure will be too great if you were to fucking switch your diet and your habits and your mindset?
So disconnected from reality. You know, in school and stuff like that, they don't teach. Well, now they're rewriting history. So forget about teaching them about history. They're literally rewriting history and rewriting language. Did you hear? Okay, remind me in the chat if I forget. Just write Dr. Seuss. Quick story. Dr. Seuss has some words like fat and ugly. So I guess in those weird rhymes, I was never a big Dr. Seuss fan, but I mean, it's almost like, you know, history, you know, Dr. Seuss. And basically what happened is he said fat and he said ugly. So they're rewriting stuff. And when it's like mom and dad, I think it's like parents. They're just like completely. Did you know about that? They're just completely.
There's books that they've completely taken away because they use the word Chinese and Indian.
Yeah.
Well, they were written so long ago,
We're-
but there
yeah.
are Chinese and Indian people,
Yeah.
and just like there's Caucasian, and I mean,
Yeah, I get
they
it.
didn't use inappropriate words. People are Chinese, people
Yeah.
are Indian, people are Caucasian, or otherwise they call us white, which would technically be wrong, you know?
Yeah.
But like
Well, it's-
all of his books are quite inclusive, like feathery hats, and then there's an Indian man
Yeah.
and a Chinese man, and you know,
But
They took it off.
well,
It's
if you
gone.
think of it, right?
The Lorax has been removed.
The Lorax?
Yeah.
They didn't
I
take
do
the
not-
Lorax.
I don't remember why, but
Not the Lorax.
Yeah, it won't be sold anymore.
They're
There's quite a few.
There's another one. There's a
Frosty the Snowman is supposed to be taken off.
Frosty the Snow
Rudolph the Red-Nosed
Person.
Reindeer.
What
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer
is what? No.
being removed. And
Why?
so is Frosty the Snowman.
Well, what's wrong with reindeer?
Bullying.
Bullying.
People are bullying him.
No.
And
Are
then
you
there's
serious?
Misfit Island.
Are you hearing this?
And there's Misfit Island. Where he meets the elf who wants to be a dentist instead, and all of this, that have all of these other ideas.
Yeah, remember Rudolph the
There's a
Red-Nosed
lot.
Reindeer, you know, before he was able to glow, he was getting like he was an outcast and stuff like that. They're like, look, that is a
I
horrible.
think they were talking about Charlie Brown's Christmas as well.
Well, yeah, Charlie Brown. He's a
Look at-
freaking degenerate.
No, look at all of his friends. You have
No,
somebody in there.
Charlie
that
Brown
is
deserves
black.
to go down.
All of his friends are very different. You've got the musician,
Okay, wait,
you've got the
wait.
black guy, but then you've got Pigpen.
Wait, let me.
Now,
So
I think it's on account of Pigpen because
Pigpen.
he's stinky. He's the stinky one,
yeah, so he should take a bath
right?
or a shower.
But Charlie Brown liked him anyways, so he's including everyone. Why I don't understand why. Like if you look at his choir of friends singing in Charlie Brown Christmas, it's multiracial. There's
To be honest, I'm happy that you know they're taking Charlie Brown and Dr. Seuss. Like enough of the violence. So Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is going bye-bye. Frosty, why couldn't they just say
we're not allowed to
Frost?
say sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me anymore? Because that would
Yeah.
just be teaching lessons about how obviously there's a difference. But yeah, I don't know. I have no idea why they're doing this. I mean, I do.
Well, if you
For the same reason that many of the regular old things are not allowed to be discussed anymore.
yeah,
And like
Thought crimes.
to be completely and entirely inclusive, fine. What you do is your business, what I do is my business, but
hat is okay. You remind me of
everybody
Ryan
is so
Reynolds.
personally offended because their
Ryan
egos are so
Reynolds.
large that anything that would have been a social
Dr. Seuss,
what do you
Harry
call it?
Potter novels, Shakespeare.
a social lesson back then.
I think they're
is no
talking about
longer a
rewriting
social
certain
lesson.
things in Shakespeare. This is hard. This is like a modern day. Well, it is a modern day
Why
book
would they
burning.
even though? Because if anybody was, there
That's
were
why you
men,
need hardcover
all
books
of
and
the
not these
actors back
ebooks.
then
Hey
were
guys,
even men who dressed as women, and then there were.
easy. We're in Canada.
Well, I think I can use the word gay. Am I allowed?
I wouldn't even.
But there are gay people.
Michelle, you're gonna make me lose my job in Canada. Both of you.
But I'm questioning because I'm socially.
I have no idea
I have been
what you're talking
confined
about.
from
What is this word?
being social in the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, they're rewriting Shakespeare.
Maybe. Why?
Well, at least one thing is it'll be the originals will be really more expensive. But this is like a modern day book burning. It's crazy. And that's why it's important to not have like these things on your tablets or these ebooks, and you're collecting a big repertoire of ebooks. They can edit and change things probably just at the snap of a finger, so they can rewrite everything. There was one 10 predictions from the World Economic Forum, and one was, I like how they they worded it. It said Western values will be stretched to their limits, as if like, yeah, the Western values, that's for an older time and now this modern time. We can't be bigots anymore, and we have to progress. And meanwhile, I'm looking at what this progression is, and I see the exact opposite. Margaret says, Pigpen, that he was poor but still had friends. That's deep. Something to write on the tombstone. Pigpen, that he was poor but still had friends. All right, going on an hour. Why don't I invite? Okay, look, let's finish this. I'm gonna shut up a little bit. By a little bit, I mean like a little bit. Like don't get your hopes up.
About animals right now? Do you think they would give a shit? They don't even fucking understand what's happening to them in the first place. And even if they do understand it, they got nothing to do against it because they're enslaved, because they're slaves, and you are contributing to the slavery of these animals. You are.
Crop protection permits have authorized the culling of 20,000 animals.
Are a slaver. You are a slaver.
So it's like, just admit it. Vegans want to criticize the animal industry that can be easily reformed, which is literally a renewable resource. Because how do you stop the cycle? Cow eats grass, cow poops, soil better. Cow eats grass, soil better because of the poop. Eats some grass, more and more, and it just builds it. It's renewable. Meanwhile, you guys want ruminant animals to no longer be even exist, I don't think. Like, what are you going to do? Just let them roam around? A lot of vegans, when they're talking about like these farm animals, they're talking about like breed, like no more, don't breed them anymore. They're not really trying to save. I don't know if that's like a common vegan thing, but I've heard some crazy stuff. I heard a certain nutrivore in the comments section. There was some debate about cats. Can cats be fed a vegan diet? Spoiler alert, no. But somebody said that, well, you can give the cats supplements. There's certain proteins and stuff like that that the cat can't produce and requires. The cat's not like an omnivore. Cats are obligate carnivores. I can't believe that there's actually vegan cat food. I'm gonna have to look that up. What kind of fortifications do they have in there? That's like animal abuse. And then giving them supplements. Get up in the morning, the vegans like, swallows it. The dog's like jumping up, all happy to see him. He's just like pouring it. Dog's like licking up. Give the cat a supplement and feed your obligate carnivore. And Nutrivore, I think, asked the question, yes, but because somebody had, some sense and said, like, that's unnatural. He goes, yes, but what if that unnatural diet makes them healthier? Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy.
If you buy animal products, you're helping people use animals as merchandise, as products. And if you fucking take a long, deep down look at yourself and at your own freaking behaviors, you'd understand.
Namibia culls elephants to protect crops and farmers.
Understand that these animals don't deserve to freaking die. These animals don't deserve to be bred into a miserable existence.
Bred into a miserable existence. That's right. He doesn't want the animal bred at all.
Where they get to be fucking fed disgusting food, treated like fucking shit.
Yeah, disgusting food. So let them eat what they're supposed to eat. Let them, guys, look it up. It's not like it's been hundreds and hundreds of years that we have this system of livestock. Things were not so long ago quite different. Rural communities, local farms. A lot of the people in the community were employed to work on the farms. It built a great, strong, and noble culture. These old school farmers, the ranchers, they were the modern day Davids. They were the modern day shepherds. They protect the cow. The cow has a natural habitat outside. If you look here in Canada, there's no hormones. There is no antibiotics. If there's any cows that are sick, they will give antibiotics. But vegans often give the impression, oh no, they're all injected with hormones, and there's antibiotics in the meat and stuff like that. That's not how it works in Canada, at least. And if you look at Canada, it's just above the United States. If you look at, there's British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan. So you look at Alberta and Saskatchewan, they're very, very flat terrain, and there's tons of grassland. The majority of the beef comes from Alberta. And if you look at over here, many of the cows are finished off with grain. That does happen in Canada. Good, I'm sharing. So over here, the animal feed. So even looking at the animal feed, specifically for beef that's always demonized, it's less than 1%. Because a lot of the cows are outside for a large portion of their existence. And they, in Canada, when it gets cold to a certain temperature, they go inside. And before slaughter, they are fed more grain, because grain makes you fat. That's why I do low carb, because too much grain makes you fat. What they want to do is stop feeding the cows and just let us eat the cow food, so that we're hungry every 3 to 5 hours because we're eating carbohydrates that increase your appetite, and we're going to be eating, basically grazing all day on just plants, like a bunch of omnivores, popping in our supplements. They want to feed us the cow food. They want to eliminate the cow. They want to convince us that we can eat grass just like a cow. There is absolutely no difference in the anatomy of the digestive tract at all. that is basic ignorance. I saw on the Game Changer, it was like a propaganda. It's probably still on Netflix or Prime. And it was like this like muscle guy trying to be a muscle guy. He was really old, and that's what he was talking about. He was like, look at a bull, how muscular a bull can get on just eating plants. And he's like this. Meanwhile, it's proven the guy's an old fart on steroids, but he's right there giving the impression, yeah, we're exactly like cows. Cows can get strong, and we can get strong just like cows. Meanwhile, is he ignorant of the rumen, the chewing of the cud, the bacterial fermentation, all of the different chambers, what's occurring? Because the fermentation with the cellulose and stuff like that, basically the bacterial fermentation creates these volatile fatty acids, and all of this grass that's going in is reacting with the bacteria. But what comes of that, among other things, is a lot of fatty acids. So what the nutrition that the cow actually ingests is actually a very high fat diet. High fat, low carb. I'm not joking. Prove me wrong. I'll admit I'm an idiot if I'm wrong, but I'm right on that. Unless I'm wrong. Monkeys poop the seeds, another tree grows. Laughing here. Love elephants, just spread cayenne pepper on fence and posts. They don't like that. It's quiet here, ghost maybe. Yeah, me and Margaret had a time lapse. She thought 12 hours went by and I lost 2. And we live in the same region. Yeah. Maybe we are in a simulation. Maybe the earth is flat.
To then have a fucking knife right across the throat after a very, very short life where you were supposed to live 25 years. Nah.
Would you let this angry, crazy guy anywhere near your children? Forget about animals.
We'll just let you live for. You are contributing to the biggest massacre our generation, our societies has ever seen on other individuals, on other sentient beings. Limit the consumption of animal foods and get to the point where you no longer use any, because these animals are dying every single fucking day because of your fucking silly choices, because you don't want to put pressure on.
Just going to press pause here if anybody wants to virtual punch him in the nose. Boom!
Because you don't want to change.
Right there, he looks like Zetetic Warrior. You ever notice when Zetetic Warrior is on, he's like this? And like his nose is like too close. It's like that. Just stating a fact.
You want change, but you don't want to change yourself because you're a piece of shit. You're egoistic. You're a fucking coward. I'm not perfect. There's a lot of stuff that I still need to change.
Yeah.
Fuck you for still eating animals if you fucking know what happened.
Study links vegetarian and veganism diets to increase likelihood of depression. Yeah, I have those popped up.
In the slaughterhouse. You fucking know what happens on farms. If you fucking know what happens in the industry after seeing the fucking death of so many animals in the past weeks. So many. You don't give a fucking flying fuck. Remove.
All of a sudden it stops and it's like brought to you by, and like it's just the name of some like supplement company. There has to, like, maybe they could all of a sudden have like 1-800 mental health, you know, like one of those hotlines. Are you experiencing psychosis? There's help.
The fucking eye windshield are in front of the eyes. Open them up.
Okay, do you understand that we're just talking about food? Like the typical person is just like, off they go. That I eat food. What? I eat food. This guy has his eyeballs open. He's like frothing almost and swearing.
Taste does not justify you consuming animals. Society does not justify you eating animals either. Because you'd never eat a fucking dog. And if you did, then you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah, at one point, a lot of them like, yeah, imagine eating your cat. Imagine eating your dog. I'm like, that's just cultural. Believe me. Like, go to Vietnam. Go to the Wuhan wet market. See what they don't eat. Yeah, they'll eat the cat, the dog. I'm about to say something else. Shut up. The scary mental health risk of going vegan. Sorry. Let's watch more. Anybody else just get really annoyed? Imagine if we're all forced to eat this peasant diet.
Oh, just like you're a fucking asshole for eating pigs, or eating cows, or calves, or babies. You are an asshole because we don't need to eat these animals. You are a coward if you know all this information, and you still have not done anything about it. And yeah, I'm angry. You know why I'm angry? It's because every single day for my job, I actually witness the death and the suffering of these animals. Most people don't because they refuse to see it. It's too hard to see because it makes you angry like I am right now. And that's why, on that fucking note, you better be a vegan after seeing this video. Do give a shit.
Damn, boy, you converted me. Woo!
Shit. Make a change in your life. Be a better person. I'll see you in the next video.
Vegans charged with murder after baby dies of starvation. On Wednesday, a Lee County judge jury indicated the couple and indicted indicted the couple and charged them with first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse. I guess there's a different aggravated child abuse and child abuse.
We got somebody in the audience who's made these simple changes. Where's Allie? How did going plant-based change your health?
It was just a great experience in general, and my health improved, and I just felt better after the 22 days of nothing but vegan eating.
Okay, 22 days? You could fast with water and a bit of salt for that many days, and you'll feel amazing also.
My cholesterol dropped down the bad to 70. It's never been that low before. It's never been that low before.
I don't have my period anymore. That's super convenient. With the price of inflation, I'm actually saving money on a vegan diet. To summarize the recent findings on the association of cholesterol levels with impulsivity and violence. Notice to summarize the recent findings on the association. So we're being honest as well. So does this prove causation? Well, I mean, there's a pathway, it just makes sense. But anyways, no, this study is talking about a parallel. It seems like, the lower the cholesterol, the more impulsivity and violence. So the vegans will come also with all sorts of studies that, again, are epidemiological, and they're going to try and justify a method of eating that has never, ever existed. And it hasn't existed for a very simple fact, because you would die. You just can't get what you need. Heck, there's cannibals. Cannibals were able to survive, at least on humans. Like cannibal, at least you're getting more nutrients eating yourself than that zucchini.
It's never been that low.
Low cholesterol and violent crimes. Community cohort studies and meta-analysis of randomized trials have shown a relation between low or lowered cholesterol and death by violence. Example, homicide, suicide, accident in primates. Cholesterol reduction has been linked to increased behavioral acts of aggression. This is, the title is The Effects of Fat and Cholesterol on Aggressive Behavior in Monkeys.
It's never been that low.
Although cholesterol lowering medications might lower the risk of heart attacks or strokes, our obsession with lowering cholesterol completely ignores the potential psychological consequences that may occur with low cholesterol. Now you understand why they want to push this diet. They've been lying about fat and cholesterol for 70 years. Do you think that all of a sudden they're going to be like, okay, time to tell them the truth? Actually avoid all animal food and eat only vegetables and fruits. No, okay, they're always saying the opposite. And since vegans are the opposite of truth, when corrupt institutions that are also opposite truth align with them, they'll go with it.
It's never been that low. It's never been that low.
A significant link between low cholesterol and violent deaths in men.
It's never been that low.
Have shown a relation between low or lowered cholesterol and death by violence. Okay, that's what we read before.
It's never been that low.
The implications of low cholesterol in depression and suicide. However, cholesterol is essential in maintaining good mental health. The brain is the most cholesterol-rich organ in the body, and depriving the brain of essential fatty acids and cholesterol can lead to detrimental health problems. Good article, man. This is a good one, JD. Lower levels of cholesterol in the blood are associated with a heightened risk of developing major depressive disorder as well as an increased risk of death from suicide. Could it be that our last 70 years of fat phobia is starting to appear in our youth? Trying to figure out, what is it? Is the vaccines causing autism? All trying to figure out everything and anything about it. Could it be that we've been avoiding perhaps fat and cholesterol like the plague, filling ourselves with those freaking seed oils? Now kids are just like ADHD. They're having like, all sorts of behavioral issues. Could be. And that's one of the things too that they don't realize. Do you know how much cholesterol there is in breast milk? So when you're actually being nursed, when you're being breastfed, no, I'm not saying chest fed. When you're being breastfed, there's a lot more than almond milk coming out of that. There's cholesterol, there's a lot of fat soluble vitamins in there. I've seen a list at one point of all the stuff, all sorts of stuff. There's too much in a boob for me to know. But I stand in awe of the nutrients that are available in breast milk. But almond milk comes in a close second. Cholesterol is a core component of the central nervous system, essential for the cell membrane stability and the correct functioning of neurotransmission. It has been observed that cholesterol may be somewhat associated with suicidal behaviors. You ever wonder why, as people get older, this is just me throwing it out there, but obviously as you notice, like, who takes these cholesterol lowering medications, these statins, as you get old, right? Not a lot of 15-year-olds yet, 20, 30. This is like a thing where eventually, you're in your 50s and doctor's like, oh, your cholesterol is a little bit, high. We're going to put you on a statin. But then there's also a study that says that higher cholesterol for older people improves mortality, right? They die less. So maybe it's normal for, as you age, to start having higher and higher cholesterol levels, because your brain is mostly cholesterol. What's among heart disease and everything else, and obesity and diabetes, but dementia, Alzheimer's. These old people are avoiding fat like the plague because the doctors are telling them that. They're not eating enough cholesterol. They're taking cholesterol lowering medications. They're literally not getting in their food, based on the recommendations, anything that they can build their brain with or maintain. The body's fighting, like, oh, here's a little bit of beta carotene. Okay, here you go. Here's a little retinol. Those damn chia and hemp seeds. It's like, oh God, let's grind that up. Geez, I only have 2% left. Just throw it in the heap. Next. B12. Just let that thing float right by. See you later. Nice try. You're never getting in. And it just goes on and on and on with the nutrients. Let us continue.
It's never been that
obviously, guys, anybody watching this, this is kind of going through one of JD's videos. Oh, I thought it would have been older. Sorry, JD. It's a month. Go to JD's. He has tons of these videos that are about, 10, 20 minutes. And they're really important. And each one, like, as you go through the archives, you'll have a good, true perspective on matters. You might have an answer, because the problem is that this message is not getting out. So we have to start, forming an omnivore alliance. People that, have gone through the research, have answers, and if you're a content maker hanging around, Garland Farms or my channel, start making, content, and start coming on the live streams. And let's, start making a little bit more noise in unison.
It's never been that long. It's never been that
All right. I have a few articles here. So here, if you do violence and low cholesterol, you'll see how do lipids influence the risk of violence. The evidence for a link with violence was the strongest for total cholesterol, followed by low density lipoprotein cholesterol, which makes sense because the statin, what they're aiming at is to reduce the LDL. But unfortunately, it has an effect on the actual cholesterol. You see, LDL is not cholesterol. It's a cholesterol bus. It's a transporter. So the cholesterol here, it jumps onto the LDL. So you're lowering your LDL, but you're also actually messing with your body's desire to utilize cholesterol. And dietary cholesterol does not increase cholesterol. Your cells produce it, and your body greatly appreciates it when it doesn't have to waste its time creating cholesterol, because you are at least supplying it cholesterol. Your body's pretty smart and resilient, and it can do a lot of stuff. And just because a certain amount of cholesterol can be maintained, obviously it's not being maintained completely, right? Because over time, some people, all of them in my book, but some people start developing mental and psychological issues, anxiety, depression, and there's a risk of aggravating somebody who's predisposed, genetically in their family. Although cholesterol lowering medications might lower the risk of heart attacks or strokes, our obsession with lowering cholesterol completely ignores the potential psychological consequences that may occur with low cholesterol. For many years, scientific studies have linked low cholesterol to depression and impulsive behaviors, including suicide and violence. The 93 study reported among men aged 70 years and older, categorically defined depression was 3 times more common in the group with a total plasma, with a low total plasma cholesterol than in those with the higher concentrations. anyways, you guys can check it out, but obviously there are negative effects. Among its many roles, cholesterol also ensures that the cell walls function properly, is converted into vitamin D, is used to make sex and stress hormones, and it serves as a major part of the coding of the nerve system. If you are avoiding cholesterol like the plague, you are not helping your body by just delivering it what it needs. It has to struggle along, creating the cholesterol. What happens when you give it what it needs, and that specific, cluster of cells, so, those 5 cells over there, can do something else? Because there's actually a benefit to giving your body the best bioavailable nutrients. Yep, there's actually benefits. I think I might be able to find a meta-analysis on that. Eating the nutrients that are essential to the body helps. Another thing that I'm thinking about is one major dietary change that may have contributed to rising rates of violence has been the shift towards omega-6 rich seed oils, such as soybean oil and corn oil in foodstuffs. Joseph Hibbelin, that's how I'll pronounce it, and collaborators had the idea of comparing omega-6 consumption to rates of violence. Scientists debunk claims of seed oils. I'd like to see that. One major change that may have contributed to rising rates of violence has been the shift to these seed oils. This is just the graphs. Interesting. Seven nutrient deficiencies that are incredibly common. So when you're eating animal food, you're getting a heme iron, and this type of iron is well absorbed, and it's only found in animal food, with red meat containing particularly high amounts. When you're dealing with the iron in plants, it's non-heme iron. This type found in both animal and plant foods is more common. It is not absorbed as easily as heme iron. Iron deficiency is one of the most common nutrient deficiencies in the world, affecting more than 25% of the population. This number rises to 47 in preschool children. Unless given iron-rich or iron-fortified foods, they are very likely to lack iron. Is it possible that people are discouraged from eating organ meats, and not necessarily discouraged? It's just something that's being lost in the culture. I never grew up on it, so I don't have a palate for it. But if you are eating liver and you are eating meat regularly, it should help. But scarfing down spinach, not going to happen. Iron deficiency is one of the most common. We went through that. Around 30% of menstruating women. That's pretty sexist. I'm going to change that. Around 30% of menstruating people may be deficient as well due to monthly blood loss, and up to 40% of young, what's the new word for that? Up to 42% of young birthing persons may be deficient as well. Additionally, vegans and vegetarians have an increased risk of deficiencies because they consume only non-heme iron, which is not well absorbed. Which is not. You did that twice now, Michelle. You did it twice.
Yeah.
I did it when I was coming in. I like pull the door. I'm like, what? The opposite. You're done.
Yeah.
All right.
That's where I'm aiming. Would you mind carrying up the laundry basket for me?
Yes. I'm just. Can I have 15 minutes more, and I'll go downstairs with this. Just JD popped on. I'll just say hi for 15 minutes, and well, if you want to start going to bed, yeah. So I'll go downstairs. Are the boys there?
No, they're outside, I guess. I'm aiming for bed. Just disturbing that shit.
Oh, it's up to you. Like, if you want to watch TV, I'll go downstairs.
Well, I would like to.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely
Yeah, I'll
turn
go.
that overhead light off. My eyes really start bothering me.
Hey guys, I'll invite. Jump on if you are interested. The door is open. I gotta put a timer though. I'm not gonna. All right, I'm just gonna walk downstairs, guys. So I'm gonna play something on YouTube while I do that. Not to have some dead air time. Vegan mood disorder. Garland Farms channel. I actually used that caveman on my recent one. I won't do that one. JD knows why. There we go. I'm gonna bring it down a tad. Make sure that I'm screen sharing. Sponsored by Garland Farms.
During the past 40 years, commercial forces have transformed virtually every aspect of academic life. Corporate funding now rules our universities. As a result of this fascist corporate takeover, universities have become for-profit patent factories, while professors are behaving more like businessmen. Secrecy has replaced the free flow of basic knowledge. University funds have shifted from humanities to commercially lucrative science labs, and the skill of teaching is no longer valued. The consequences of the new academic industrial complex are wide-ranging and disturbing. This leads us to a so-called study that's recently been launched at our community by misanthropic vegans serving the dark agenda. The aim of this propaganda piece attempts to leave you with the impression that the healthy and bioavailable iron in red meat causes cancer. However, when we examine the authors of this vulgarity and look into their affiliations, we find something very disturbing, but something to be expected in today's climate of economic sluttery and corrupted universities. Case in point, meet Stefan Grimm. Stefan was a German biologist and professor of toxicology at Imperial College London. He researched signaling cascades in the development of tumors. Professor Grimm was found dead as a result of suicide after being told by his superior at Imperial College that his career was on the line and he had better start bringing.
I was just playing something while I was walking downstairs. I'll show you what it looks like. So get out of there. So what you can do with this is It's called StreamYards.
Yeah.
So here, I'll stop the screen there. So it's called StreamYards. You go there, you click, and it's free.
Yeah.
But it's limited. Like you don't
Yeah.
have like infinite hours and stuff like that. And usually, like if it's the free version, it has like StreamYards logo on the top and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyways, so I liked it so much because let's say, okay, you're chatting, it's like Zoom, right now,
Exactly.
and it's actually live right now on YouTube. It's not like after it's happening.
Okay, that's cool. Oh, I
Yeah.
should do that in like the studio, my music studio.
Okay, yeah, exactly. But watch this, and then you can share. Let's say I want to show somebody
Yeah, you put it
something.
everywhere.
You go present. You share audio. Share. So if you even if you made like a YouTube video,
Yeah.
if you do make a YouTube video, but then you can do a live stream
Mm-hmm.
and you can talk with people and stuff, and you can pop up like information, you can pop up videos, whatever your screen is, you can share it.
Exactly.
So it's really cool.
Yeah.
So I do these kind, and see now I have friends here, Margaret and Garland Farms, that were talking.
Mm-hmm.
So I just add them to the stream like this, and they're on YouTube. But when they click the link, it
Yeah.
opens up. So it's
Oh,
simple
sweet.
to use. Yeah.
Hi.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hello. I can hear you.
Hello.
Yep, the volume's good, man.
They invented a new jab, and it's for kids 12 and up.
Wonderful.
It's for obese or overweight people, and
Yeah.
it lasts a whole year.
Wow.
Did you hear about that?
I heard that they're pushing some diet med, but I didn't know specifically what it was, and gastric bypass surgery. And now
Yeah.
they're saying obesity is just genetic. It's
Are
just
they-
genetic.
I don't know, because I have two uncles that are 7 feet tall,
Yeah.
and that's on my dad's side, and they're made like stairs. So I have an aunt 4'9",
Yeah.
short and stumpy, and as they go up, they get taller. You have plump and you have thin. So
Well, I mean, there's all sorts of different body types and stuff like that, and there's definitely some people genetically that might have like slower metabolisms or thyroid disease. They have hypothyroidism. Like my mom has that. So you can have reasons that you put on weight more. I mean, medications nowadays, but overall, if you know nutrition and you're strict and stuff, I think that anybody can overcome obesity. Some will have more challenges, but what do you think, JD, about that? Is there anybody cursed to obesity and there's nothing in their power that they can do to escape this fate?
my sister had that operation where they put the ring in the stomach.
Yeah, gastric ring.
She was 5 foot and 327 pounds. So she had the ring put in her stomach. And she lost a lot of weight, but then she had to go in and get an operation to have the excess skin removed. So
Yeah.
she's an alien now, or she was an alien because she passed away. No belly button.
Oh, yeah. She's an alien. But that just proves it, right? Because like it's a surgery that shrinks your stomach, and because you can't eat that as much, you lose all the weight. So it's like, what's magic? It's like it's not doing anything like it's literally just restricting your food intake. So technically, that person, not pointing out specifically your family member, but like pushing this kind of stuff on children, as if there's no way that they can lose weight. That's crazy. And
But I know that her weight problem was psychological though, because of her childhood. That was like her comfort thing to go to.
I guess so, yeah. But she wasn't a victim, I guess, to her genetics. I mean, there's tons of people that just don't know how to eat. there's some people, not some, tons of people are following the recommendations. They think they're doing something good. They're like, oh, I'm having apple juice. It's, apples are good. And then they're eating cereals. They're sprinkling a little bit of sugar, so they think it's good. They got brown toast. It's just too much. They think that they're being healthy. You'll see a salad with like one chopped egg on it, and I'm like, I got a friend at work. I don't know. He's weight training, and he's like, oh, if I want to lose weight, all I do is eat beans. That's all he does. And I was kind of like, dude, and he's like, I take whey protein, and then after I also buy the vegan supplement protein. And I'm like, there's no benefit. Like, why are you buying the other one too? Like, everything's
but that costs a lot of money. So why doesn't he just go out and get himself some good steaks? Not the same. I don't know.
We can access photographs and even video of the human population, even city crowds 100 years back.
Yeah.
And we didn't have all of these different body types back in those days. We basically had like 1.5 body types. Most people were lean, and the differences relied or boiled down to you were either lean and kind of a string beanie, or you were lean and muscular. So there really wasn't this body type, except for just your average American right now would have been a candidate for the circus back in those days, because an obese individual was a freak. It was a freak show to be obese back then.
Yeah.
Since those days, we've increased our sugar consumption, and this is just our sugar consumption. I'm not talking about high fructose corn syrup. Just the sugar consumption has increased by about 100,000%. 100,000%. Not 100%, not 1,000. Literally about 100,000%. Yeah. Our sugar intake has increased, and then we've added high fructose corn syrup to that, and on top of that, we've added seed oils, which before back in those days was used either as lamp oil or as lubricant for gears and stuff like that. And on top of that, you've got the introduction of all of these endocrine disrupting chemicals in the pesticides and in the plastics. And so now we have this obesity epidemic, and it used to be well known. I mean, why do you think that gluttony and sloth have been two of the seven deadly sins all this time? Well, now they've removed gluttony and sloth, just that phrase, from the public's consciousness. And so now people don't even realize that exercise and moving your body around is actually basically an essential nutrient for human health. You need to move around. I've explained on my channel how we don't have just the blood or the circulatory system, which includes, all the arteries and veins and capillaries that use the heart as a pump to move the fluid around. But we have another circulatory called the lymphatic system, which is made up of this interstitial fluid or lymphatic fluid that requires movement. And the actual movement of the muscles and the joints actually squeezes the tissues and move this lymph around. And we have a series of one-way valves that allow that fluid to move in one direction without backing up. So it's constantly moving as long as you are moving. And that is what makes your lymph system function. So your lymph nodes, that you have in your armpits and your groin, all of those important parts of your immune system actually require your body to be moving. So we've removed exercise from the picture. Most people don't exercise. Their job requires them sitting on their behind all day long. And
That's what
then
I
they're consuming ultra-processed junk food. And the ultra-processed junk food is manufactured by scientists who have been studying things like mouthfeel and touching the parts of the brain chemically so that you're craving more and more and more and more. And so now we've kind of programmed the human being into this, like a fattened up milk cow. And what they're milking from us is our health and milking our bank accounts through all of the expenditures and the addictions to ultra processed foods, people going and buying Doritos and potato chips and coming home in front of the television. And then they've got these drugs that they have to take because of all of the doctor has convinced them that they're required to take to control the symptoms of the disease that they've eaten themselves into. So I don't buy into this. We've got all of these different body types. These different body types are not natural. It's just like if you were to feed a bunch of pigs, a harmful diet over decades and decades, you'd have some pigs out there that are more susceptible to the harm. You'd have other pigs out there that have a resistance to some resistance to the harm. And so you'd end up with, various different, quote, body types to these pigs. But really, these aren't genetic body types that would be existing in a natural world. These are body types that are being engineered by the modern pharma food industrial complex.
Yeah.
Back to you, Bob.
JD, I have a question for you.
Yes, Margaret.
I have a fridge with a freezer. I don't have a freezer. I was asking before in the chat, excuse me, to preserve raw meat in lard, do I have to cook it first?
To preserve raw meat in lard?
Yeah. Yeah, do I cook it first or do I just put it in the lard? In jars.
I've never preserved meat without canning it. What I do is I put the meat into a jar, like a mason jar.
Yeah.
And then I put just a little bit of water in there and salt and any seasonings that I want. And then I put the lid on the jar, not too tight, but snug. And then I put it in a pressure cooker. And then I heat up the pressure cooker and I can the meat just like you would jelly or jam. And the meat, I'm putting the meat in the jar raw, and the meat cooks inside the jar.
Oh, okay.
And so once you finish the heat cycle and let it cool off, then during the heat phase, some of the gases will be expelled outside of the jar as long as you haven't over tightened the lid. And then it'll be vacuum sealed, and it'll stay for years that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was reading up on our emergency thing here from the government, and they said to hoard for at least 3 months. And then they're, well, okay, but I don't have a freezer. So I was wondering how to do that. Okay, thanks.
Sure. Yeah, just get on YouTube and look for canning meat, and they have video after video. I've got one video showing myself canning meat. So Just look it up, and I've got I've got a cellar with jars of canned meat in there.
Now for water, I boil the water and the jugs for it. It's sterilized, right? How much salt per gallon do I put in to preserve that water?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that as far as preserving water. I don't.
Preserving water.
I didn't know that people were putting salt in there to preserve water. I'm not familiar with that technique.
Because I live in an apartment. I'm in an apartment, so kind of screwed here.
Yeah. What I would recommend is to get a good gravity water filter, or I've got a water filter that is made for camping, but it's a pump filter, and it will pump like 10,000 gallons before the filter needs to be replaced. And something like that, to that way, if if worse comes to worse, you can go out and scoop up some water out of a mud puddle or something, and that is, the water is going to be, if in an emergency situation, kind of a mass off grid environment where the water's not running and the food's not available. The water is going to be the first thing. Lack of water would be the first thing to take you out.
Right.
So you want to cover that base first, and then once that's covered.
We had the big power outage with the ice storm.
Yeah.
That was, we had no water.
We
had no heat, no water.
Are you in Texas, Margaret?
No, Montreal, Quebec.
Okay.
She's in my spot.
Yeah, well, we had that. We don't have weather like that a lot, but 2 years ago we had an ice storm here in Texas that covered the entire state, and we've got this committee that's supposed to be supervising our electric grid and improving it. Turned out that they were funneling money into each other's pockets. Each one of them was bringing home between $400,000 and $700,000 a year. So instead of funneling that money into beefing up the grid, they were enriching each other's bank accounts, and so that ended up killing about 700 people, and the entire state lost electricity for about 5 to 7 days, depending on where you were. It was a poop show, to say the least.
Yeah, I had a friend in my game in Texas, and her gas line, something happened with her gas line, no heat, and then the plumbing went. So it was a big catastrophe for her with that. Do you have a well?
Yes, I do. I have a well and I have a river.
Oh, so you're off the grid then, basically.
Well, I'm still connected to the grid. I do have electricity coming in, but
no, JD, you're a fake farmer. You're not even a farmer. I bet you Bill Gates is a better farmer than you. Hey,
Bill Gates.
Show me what's under the table.
Yeah, you're right.
Proceed.
You're right. It's just a big ruse. I drive. I really live in the city, this little apartment, and I trespass on this farmer's land every day, and I go out there and I take care of his goats, and I fix his fences, and pet his horses, and I fish in his river. It's I've never been caught so far. I don't know what the guy does, but I never see him out there. I just kind of have the run of the place.
That's it. Hey,
what'd you do? What'd you do to your finger?
Oh, well, right before I came on, I've been sharpening a bunch of knives, and this knife right here, it's got a really strong spring to it, and I was trying to open it up, and it shut like that down on my finger. And this was right before I came on with you guys a while ago, and it just like a scissors. It just grabbed the end of my finger like that, and when I removed it, it had cut down and was bleeding pretty good. And I didn't have a Band-Aid handy, so I just grabbed some gauze and a big roll
Duct tape.
big roll of duct tape. Take myself back together.
God bless the inventor of duct tape.
It's not a vitamin K1, you know, from plants. He's like, damn it, this is the first time I need something from a plant. K1, stop that bleeding.
Yeah, I'm a big knife fanatic. You know, I've got probably 50, 60 knives. I found this one on the ground the other day, took it home and sharpened it up. And it's
nice
and sharp. And it's just a piece of, junk. I recently kind of not perfected it, but I really improved my sharpening skills. And
yeah, I have the wheat.
Sharpening knives. Say what?
I have a wheat stone. That's so handy.
Oh, wheat stone?
Yeah.
You have to grind the wheat.
No, for the knives. Sharpens the knives.
What's it made of?
I don't know. It's some kind of stone. It's black. It's almost like I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've got this.
You use it, your lawnmower blades. You use it to sharpen the blades on your lawnmower and stuff like that, or your knives.
I feel like this is Crocodile Dundee #3 or something.
Yeah.
Nice right there.
Yeah, this knife here is kind of cheaply made. It's I forgot the brand. I looked it up the other day. I thought it was just, like a throwaway knife. And it's actually made, it's got a carbon steel blade to it. So actually I can make this knife really sharp. But I looked up the value on this thing. I was surprised. It's about a $300 knife, and it was made back in the 70s. So they're very rare. This thing is very rare. And for the longest time, I just thought it was a piece of junk. I was just treating it like like a disposable, like, well, I'm going to kind of abuse this, and whenever it's done, I'll throw it away.
Half a century years old,
Yeah. Once I realized what I had, then I started taking much better care of it. I didn't damage it, at least.
Yeah. This is a true story, but obviously I don't want to say exactly who it is. So this person, her father was like very like an old fashioned. So he had all of his savings like somewhere in his house. He didn't trust the banks. But when he passed away, he never told her. So they knew that there was probably a substantial amount of cash, a life savings somewhere. Anyways, they're auctioning off, material and stuff like that, selling some of the furniture. And the husband notices there's something off with the drawer, like the drawer seems like it's not seems like the table's wider than the drawer. And yeah, he had like built a compartment inside of like just a crappy unsuspecting thing, but they almost like sold that thing for maybe $20. Imagine you buy like at an auction or something like that, and there's like who knows how much money,
$100,000.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. That part I didn't know, but it's quite a story. Hey, what do you think about my theory? I have no support, but just kind of a theory. You know how the statins, eventually as you get older, your cholesterol is usually going to go higher, and then they push you with a statin. I usually associate a statin with older people. Maybe start hitting you around mid 40s to to 50 with statin. To my knowledge, yeah, it has an effect on LDL, but it also has an effect on the total cholesterol. So, you know, you're not only reducing the little buses that shuttle around the cholesterol, you're also reducing the cholesterol. And I think that maybe old people naturally will maybe start producing or benefit from higher cholesterol as they age because of the cognitive effects and the importance, you know, in so many things, from hormones to nervous system, you know, the myelin sheath, all the cholesterol in the brain. You would think that, yes, your body can create cholesterol, but you can actually feed your body cholesterol, and then your cells, well, they don't have to produce it. They can go do something else. So I see that it's actually super beneficial. That's what I was blabbing about, I think, before you guys came on, about, you know, the idea of, like, you know, almond milk, which is like bean juice, compared to like breast milk. And the vegans will literally like talk as if like this is a replacement, when it's like, do you realize breast milk, how much cholesterol is in there? There's a reason. The baby is literally growing. So why would this toxic substance called cholesterol be harmful? What's dangerous is if you have the, as we always repeat, the omega-6 too high. So now all of a sudden your LDL is composed of omega-6, not omega-3. You got oxidative stress, high, you know, glucose fluctuations, insulin, and inflammatory, you know, factors. And here you go. Now you have a toxic environment where you're going to get glycation, and people don't talk about things getting glycated. And that has to do with you know, carbohydrate consumption as well. And that's a negative effect that can happen. And so anyways, you just, you know, look at everything together. I think that these statins, which show, again, the statins, you know, like, reduces the risk. This isn't a more bull crap, right? These are associations. There's no proof. I think at best, I've heard, if you've already had a heart attack, then there might be a benefit. And I can see that. I can see if you're a super unhealthy person and your LDL are oxidized, then they can be problematic. But you have a whole slew of other things, you know, going on. But
may I say something to that?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading the other day that you know how there's three different types of LDL. You've got the high density LDL, the medium density LDL, and the fluffy LDLs.
Yeah.
And the fluffy LDLs have not been associated with any plaque or arteriosclerosis whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it's the high density LDLs that actually are associated with the you know, being an ingredient in the plaque.
Wait, isn't it the VLDL, very low density lipo, like the smallest ones?
No, it's the high density LDL. You got the fluffy ones, and you've got the ones that are very small and very compact, very dense.
Yeah.
And it's the dense ones that are associated with arteriosclerosis, not the fluffy ones, not the low density ones,
Yeah, exactly.
The high density ones.
But the doctors will never test for that. So they'll say, "Oh, your cholesterol is high. Here you go. Put you on a statin. That's it."
Right.
You know,
so as it turns out, the statins are reducing the fluffy LDLs.
Wonderful.
So those are the ones that are actually benefiting you, and the high density LDLs, the very concentrated ones, the ones that are associated with plaque, are not. They're not the. From what I'm reading, the statins do not remove them at all. So I do not think that there's a benefit to anyone. But, you know, my personal opinion, based on the science that I've read, there's really no benefit to anyone, even if they've had a heart attack. That's just
no, and it's association studies again. There's no
that's
like,
just gobbledygook that they're using to harm and profit. You know,
I'm 0% for them. I was just playing devil's advocate. I think I heard that what they were saying was there's zero benefit if you haven't had a heart attack, and there's a very small. But again, we're talking about risk, the hazard ratios. That this is not causation. And what they're saying is, well, if your LDL are damaged because you've already had a heart attack and likely you're still in the same, health, then the lowering the LDL, that's their idea. But no, every single person that I've had two, this is just my personal thing. Now, I won't say it. I think all three of us agree that if you had a friend, you would possibly share your opinion about this specific medication. I'll play it safe. I'll say it that way. I think that it's fine for elderly cholesterol to increase. And I think that as long as they're healthy and they're not insulin resistant. Give me a second. I think the door just opened. Hey, get out of here. Is somebody there? What the?
There's spooks in the house.
Spooks?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Somebody, thank goodness I was down here. Somebody left the door open. Our house is like 135 years old. It's like a centennial. It's actually, and this is a small little town. It's the schoolhouse. So it's like historical. And the front door is like this huge antique door, and it doesn't always close right. So all of a sudden, like, it just opened because obviously it wasn't shut right. And the other cat's starting to go, and they don't go outside. So I kind of like shushed pushed scared the cat so it didn't go outside. All of a sudden I see my other cat come in. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Well,
the cat door was open, Michelle. And then
Yeah, a whetstone is quartz. Mine from, I don't know if it's Arkansas or Arkansas.
Rod Howard's asking, whetstone, do you have to add oil to it? ?
I just put some water.
Some what?
Yeah,
What'd you put?
water, just a couple of drops of water.
Yeah. Well, that's what he was asking. Yeah.
And it's WHETSTONE.
Yeah, those usually use water.
So JD, so do you agree that if an older person's cholesterol is high, that it's actually not a problem as long as you know that, let's say you had a patient, you're a homeopath, as long as you know that they're eating appropriately and they're healthy and they're not diabetic, insulin,
And they're exercising.
yeah, then I would say there's no problem. And I bet you that a lot of elderly people benefit. And I believe the body's actually pretty smart. If you're eating the right stuff, which I think is omnivorous, but more animal based and side dishes and stuff like that, no avoidance of animal food, not buying into this, saturated fat, animal fat's going to clog your kind of heart. If somebody has elevated cholesterol, they're healthy, they're active, like I would not worry about it. What would you do? Do you agree?
I agree with that. I do not think that cholesterol. I think the entire cholesterol thing is a fraud.
Me too.
From top to bottom, every study talking about cholesterol levels shows that high cholesterol is associated with low all-cause mortality, and low cholesterol is associated with high all-cause mortality, schizophrenia, dementia, Alzheimer's, muscle weakness. In fact, I'll tell you, I was a strength and conditioning specialist for many years, and I didn't work just with elite athletes, but I worked with regular people, elderly people, young young athletes like teenagers, professionals in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, people that worked for Dell and Motorola. And I worked with so many people whose doctors would put them on statins.
Yeah.
And then after some time on the statins, then they would start experiencing muscle wasting. They would start to experience muscle weakness. They would start to experience muscle pain. And this became a very, to me, it was a very amplified pattern that I was noticing in all of these statin takers. And it got to the point, Jason and Margaret, where I would just, I started dropping clients. I mean, I was busy, dude. I was working. I was at the gym at 5:30 in the morning, and I'd get home about 9:00 p.m.
Yeah.
I was very, very busy. I was not hurting for clients. So whenever it got to the point, probably in the last 5 years of my career, if I found out one of my clients had started taking statins, I would fire their ass. I didn't want anything to do with someone taking statins because they would start experiencing all of this muscle weakness. They actually would become a liability in more ways than one, because with all of that, in my opinion, what was happening was the statins were lowering their cholesterol below what it should be, and therefore their testosterone production would suffer. Their myelin sheaths would begin to deteriorate, and the myelin in their brain would begin to deteriorate. And so I
have a horror story after this.
They were more prone to fall, so they were an injury risk for me. They were more prone to decrease in strength. So people that were observing me as a coach and as a trainer, as a nutritionist, would actually witness someone who's going downhill under my supervision. And I didn't want that. So I would I would give everyone a fair warning that, if I find out you're taking statins, you're out of here. If you choose to take the statins, that's your business. That's between you and your doctor. But I don't want anything to do with it because I've seen the results. Go ahead, Jason.
This is another true story. So it's somebody I know. Okay, first probably started with person needed CPAP, actually sleep apnea, and needed to lose weight. So had sleep disturbances, but before the CPAP ever arrived, it started with the family doctor prescribing stuff to help sleep. So started with Dizerel, known as Trazodone. So that's an antidepressant that's very sedating. They don't use it anymore as an antidepressant, but 0 to 100 milligrams. That's like, it makes you sleep. So takes that, but you end up getting a tolerance. So no, that was a problem. Started having restless leg syndrome. So put him on gabapentin, and it didn't work. And then he upped it to very high levels. When in reality, it's like, okay, they'll try and give you Lyrica, which is pregabalin, or Neurontin, which is the older one. But there's a dosage that's effective, and it works or it doesn't, right? For restless legs, you don't start doubling or just keep on going up. That at one point it was like, no, it's a dose response. A gabapentin is a old generation antipsychotic, anticonvulsant. So it's sedating as hell, and it works on the GABA receptors. So the people can, actually get, a bit drunk on it and there's an abuse potential. He was on so much that he was like high as a kite, and just like, lethargic. Seroquel was added, very low dose. They use that all the time in a hospital. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. You could start it, stop it. It's very sedating. It's an antipsychotic, but we're talking about 25 to 50 milligrams compared to like 600 900 and stuff like that. So added that. He became depressed. So added, I think it was Cipralex, maybe Effexor. Then after added, what's it? Bupropion? Wellbutrin, anyways, is the other name. That's like a more dopamine. Anyways, this guy had so much, ends up, not able to work, obese, high blood pressure, and a complete depression. This is somebody in their mid 50s, no psych problems at all, just just fine. So, and he was on a statin. So we started weaning everything down very slowly. This doctor was a complete idiot. He had an arsenal of brain altering drugs that a schizophrenic would probably have less. And we had to wean everything down very, very slowly. And we stopped the statins, and family doctors won't catch it. Let's say, I don't know, the guy's on a statin and he's developing depression that is refractory to any treatment, to the point, and now he's a zombie on like 6 different meds. There's a family doctor right there. Take him off the statin, and that's it. And I ended up putting the person on keto, lost all the weight, to the point where he was feeling dizzy at one point when I was calling, because I was coaching the person, him and his wife, and he's doing well, but he does his little thing around the block, but he's feeling dizzy. And I'm like, well, take his blood pressure. And it was low. And I was like, yeah, because he was still taking his high blood pressure medication. So got him off all the drugs, all the drugs gone, off the statin. And then on top of it, when he went to the doctor and they did the lipids, they were actually normal. So then he says to the doctor, can I stop the statins? And they're like, no, it runs in your family. You have to stay on that for the rest of your life. There's family medicine, beautiful.
But
that's what happened.
What I'm implying is that this depression was related to the statin.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
most people, what they do is they've got this. They actually lowered the cholesterol trigger for statin prescription, right? In other words, the amount of cholesterol that they would allow you to have before they tried to push statins on you used to be higher, but they needed to pump up the profits, the statin profits, especially when the patents ran out on the statins. They were worried about the corporate profits. That was in the Market Watch literature, they're pooping their pants about losing profits because of the patent was running out.
Yeah.
So as a reaction to the patents running out, what they did was they lowered the threshold for the cholesterol so that more people would be candidates for statin prescriptions.
Yeah.
And then they started prescribing statins for a whole lot more people. So as a result, most people who have dementia and Alzheimer's are on statin drugs, and their brain is experiencing demyelinization. The myelin is actually disappearing from their brain. And what they'll do is they'll sit there and keep feeding these statins to an Alzheimer or dementia patient until they're in the grave. It doesn't even occur to them that, why don't we take the statins out of the picture, let his brain have a chance to remyelinate, and perhaps this dementia may go away.
Yeah.
But they've got everyone so afraid of dying of heart disease that they'd opt for dying from Alzheimer's as opposed to having a heart attack, which if the statins are removing just the high density LDL, then, I mean, the low density LDL, the fluffy LDL, which aren't associated with heart disease, then it wouldn't, in that case, the statins wouldn't be doing anything for you anyway.
Yeah.
But
I just think they come up with I think they come up with a pill for everything now. This is ailing you, here we have this pill. Oh, that's ailing you, take this pill. When my husband was sick, and the second time we went to the emergency room, I brought all his medication with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the doctor, what is this for? And I said, well, he's got diabetes. So one is to lower the diabetes, one is to balance it, high cholesterol, antidepressant, the statin, and there was something else, Supra something. And then he says, well, he asked me about the Supra, and I said, I don't know what that is. So then he went off onto his computer and he says, no, I've taken some away. Because they're counteracting each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the statin also kills your liver.
They've got all, once someone gets up to like 60 years old, they're taking a bucket of pharmaceuticals, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then each person, they'll have one drug. They'll start with one prescription. That prescription's got these side effects. So they go back to the doctor with these side effect symptoms, and the doctor's got a drug to treat each one of those side effects. And then those drugs have side effects. Patient comes back with those side effects, and there's drugs to treat those symptoms. And then, each drug has its side effects that requires more drugs to treat those side effects. And it's just on and on and on. And then each person, this person might be on 13 different pharmaceuticals. This person's on 10 different pharmaceuticals. This one's on 8. That one's on 18. And so each person's kind of has their own pharmaceutical fingerprint. And so then because of their unique cocktail of drugs that they're taking, they've got a unique physiology going on, or a unique human biochemistry happening. And then they use that as proof that we're all different, when actually we're all very, very much the same outside of all of this pharmaceutical industrial complex. And if we weren't basically the same, then there would be no such thing as human physiology textbooks, human biochemistry textbooks. They wouldn't be able to exist because we would all be so biologically different. But we are the same species, and we basically, without all those drugs, we operate very, very, very closely to one another.
Be careful about those biology books there that you're talking about, because they're changing Dr. Seuss. They're changing a lot of books, and believe me, pretty soon there'll be
it's already happened.
There'll be adjustments about menstruation and other things like that. Hey, let me show you a few pictures.
In fact, if you try to buy one of the really good old human physiology textbooks, it's very expensive, because people know that you can find the truth in those books. And the books that they're selling, the modern ones, the 2023 edition is full of political hogwash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The originals that won't be altered are going to be worth something, unfortunately. Imagine it's like now they're changing
from college.
They took like ugly and fat out because it's offensive. Are you serious? Now words are offensive in Dr. Seuss, and they changed something about the mother and father into parents. Just it's crazy.
It is.
I don't know. The world is off its spin. It's sad, but
well, they're ripping down monuments, at least from my perspective, looking at the States. They're ripping down historical monuments. They're spitting on the founding fathers.
Well, here too.
They're whipping their backs as if like America created racism and slavery. Every culture had slaves.
Yes.
It's just
But
crazy.
the first slaver was a black man in the United States.
Yeah. And you got a bunch of idiot kids that are throwing soup on Van Gogh paintings. Like, it's just going into stores self-entitled. Look at me. I'm gonna start emptying all this milk everywhere. Are you filming me? Put it on my TikTok. Hashtag I'm a moron. I don't know.
Yeah. Or defacing Queen Victoria at Victoria Square. Then they took down they took down some statue. They broke its head off.
Really?
Somewhere downtown. I think it was McGill.
Yeah?
Yep, because he was a slave owner.
Man, when I worked at the Royal Victoria Hospital, but the original one, like that's right near the Montreal Neurological.
Yeah, on Pine.
Beautiful historical building. You know the song "In Flanders Fields the Poppy Grow." You know that there's a big monument because he was a physician at that hospital, and he wrote it. But yeah, there was tons of history in that thing, and then they moved it. I have no idea what they're doing with it. Okay, let me show you, since we're talking about pharmaceuticals. Watch this. This is kind of eerie. You see this?
Yeah, I see it.
Good. So Revelation 18:23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth. For by thy sorcery were all nations deceived. Okay, so who are the merchants, right? And who are the great men of the earth, right? The great men of the earth are the powerful entrepreneurs like Bill Gates, in this World Economic Forum, the great men of the earth. Now, what I love about this is that you can go to Blue Letter Bible and you can punch in. Here, I just go like this. I had punched in 1823, so you see it right here. And then I go here to tools. I'm always going through the passages to look at the original. So here, see how it's going down? The merchants were great men of earth, for by thy sorcery. Look at the root word of it. Pharmakia.
Yeah, pharmacy.
Pharmakia. And when you press the Strong Concordance, the use or administering of drugs and poisoning. So now if you go back here, it ends up saying, for your merchants were the great men of the earth, for by your pharmakia all the nations were deceived. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's Pfizer.
Well, it's pretty freaky, isn't it?
Fauci's in big trouble, eh? He's being sued.
Bible always has something to point to. Here, this is like when they were in the 50s. I mean, okay, this is anecdotal, but then after you...
Oh, wow, so modest.
Yeah. It's like you said, like this there is not genetics and stuff like that. This is people, I think, have given up. And at this point, what they're doing is like JD's experiencing some contact with that. Is this fat
acceptance?
Yeah, all of that.
Body positive.
I think at this point, some of them are just like you said, like just freaks there. Like, but a lot of very large people, like they're given the typical eat less, move more kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Rod Howard is asking you a question. Do you have
Me?
to add oil to it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was asking you about your whetstone.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, we covered that.
Water. Okay. Because that just came up on my chat.
The Maasai, they're an interesting bunch, eh? The Maasai,
Yeah.
where are they? Gotta find it. This is an interesting one I wanted to share also. Of course, oh, it's over here. Sorry, guys. Yeah, without reading, we can read a little bit into it, but the traditional Maasai culture is known as a culture where the men exclusively consume meat, milk, and blood. That's it. If you're, I'm sure like they're talking about organs also there. And yet they have no heart attack disease. So
And
the
look
alleged,
how-
and if you look at images of them, they're very lean
and tall.
and tall and healthy and aren't experiencing all of the stuff that we experience. Look at their shapes. And
But
one thing that I learned,
the plain Indians
yeah,
were very
one-
tall too because they ate a lot of meat.
all of the places with their traditional cultures and diets were thriving. The Eskimo, the Indians, and stuff like that. They were very in touch and they understood right down to when people in the tribe, when they would mate, what specific diets, meaning what specific things they fed the mother maybe before or anticipating or during, very specific diet, high also in organ meats. And they even spaced out pregnancies. It's like they didn't have the science, but they understood just, you know, like any, I don't know, where they would space out the pregnancies to make sure that the mother for the next generation, their focus was to create within the tribe the next generation as vibrant and as thriving as possible. And what you notice too, they don't have like a dentist at every corner and stuff. If you look at Weston A. Price, I mean, he was a dentist. Most of the pictures are about the teeth and the bridge of the nose and the width of the jaw. All of these things that are narrow in our culture is actually nutritional deficiencies in essential vitamins. It literally changes your skull. So these people are consuming massive amounts of meat, organ meats, and milk, and they are thriving specimens, basically thriving examples of humans, and they're still like this to this day to a certain extent. They still do that. So did I show everything? I think I did. Oh,
I didn't know that about the skull.
here, just a quick so micronutrient deficiencies in India, because India, they're not all vegans, but there's about 30% of the population that are vegan, and the rest are vegetarian. They do consume like you know, actually a lot of chicken, the population, and ghee and stuff like that. Let's just let me highlight here. Let's highlight this is what I'm going to read. The estimated overall prevalence was 17% for iodine deficiency, 39% for folic acid deficiency, 54% for iron deficiency, 53% for vitamin B12, 19% for vitamin A deficiency. Vitamin D was at 61%. So we classified the population into infants, adolescents, and adults, and pregnant women. Iron deficiency was most prevalent, 61% in pregnant women. It's not a good thing. The results of the present study reinforce the data on micronutrient deficiencies in India and warrant the immediate need for further active public health interventions to address these deficiencies. Yeah, more supplements and fortified flour by Bill Gates. So all this to say is we know that their diet is highly plant-based, and they are renowned in studies for all of these nutritional deficiencies. So they want to push this form of a diet on us. The studies are there. So these vegans and stuff like that, that first of all, most of the studies that they do compares to a standard American diet. Everything's don't eat for a year. That's better than a standard American diet for most fat people. You know what I mean? So, legalize mass looting in parks. I think they replaced the Lee statue. Yeah, G Slayer's talking about destroying basically the Western culture, and it's funny because there's a WEF one that we had popped out, their predictions, and it talked about the Western culture and values will be stretched to its breaking point. It's like, what do you mean? Like, you guys are going to stretch and try and break everything that the culture is based on, and that's what they're doing. Critical race theory. They're ripping down statues. They're focusing on instead of American history, they're trying to do Black history, and it's like, it's just there's a lot of segregation and stuff being created, and I could see that exactly. They call it predictions. It's more like agendas, and you can see on all level. TikTok, is a huge factor that's like really destroying a lot of people. Actually, it's so.
Well, yeah, and it's owned by China.
Oh yeah, it's influencing people to do all sorts
It's
of
owned
stuff.
by China.
But it is from China. China doesn't put that garbage. They use the app also, and don't think that China's TikTok, what is allowed and what we're receiving over there. It's like there's like math equations for them to try.
Well, that's why Russia, Putin, he got rid of Facebook and all that, and they put up their own because he said it was all trash.
Yeah, well, pretty much everything's going to be censored now. It'd be like North Korea. Anything else?
So that's how you wear a country down, divide it.
Am I still sharing here? I'll share one last thing, Margaret. Yeah, you can continue talking. Sorry for cutting you off.
So I'm going to go on your web, JD, and look for that canning.
You're going to do what?
I'm going to go on your web, on your page, and look over for that canning stuff that you put up.
Yeah, let me see if I can help you find it.
Says 24% of Indian population are vegan. So that's like 574 million Indians follow a meat-free diet. India
Yeah, but what is the cost of their meat? Maybe they can't afford the meat.
Well, there's a lot of it is like, if there's 24%, they're probably about that average of, practicing Hindus, because if you're a practicing Hindu, you are not touching
a cow.
Yeah, some religious Hindus will consume eggs and they'll consume the ghee and milk and stuff like that. A lot of, because they consider it not harmful kind of thing, to the extent that they think the cow is so sacred that not only this is true, not only do they take the milk and make ghee and stuff, they'll drink the urine. I'm not saying every day, like they're consuming all day, but they think it's like a tonic that's healthy, as well as poop. And it's funny because I'm like, I bet you they're getting B12 from eating that. So at least in India, the one culture that is not vegan but is highly plant-based and vegetarian for religious reasons, for some reason they figured out that they should eat cow shit, basically. So they're probably getting B12. They're the only vegans that are, you know what, legit, you know, sticking to their ideology and just like scarfing down the cow poo.
And they're big on their spices too.
Yeah, I love Indian cuisine. I love spicy. I'm not putting it down at all there. It's like facts.
I put a link to that video in the private chat.
Okay.
Yeah, you might want to watch that one, Jason, real quick, just for the heck of it.
Yeah. What do you want to? Are you gonna post something? You mean?
I posted that video in the private chat of me canning meat.
Okay. And then we'll finish with that.
Yeah.
It's 10:40 there. I don't want to go too late. After yesterday's alien abduction, where I looked, it was 1 o'clock, and I go downstairs to grab a piece of cheese, come back, it's 3:30, and I'm freaking out because I have to get up at 6:30. That was a very weird night.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Margaret's walking around.
This happened a while ago to me.
7 a.m. What did they just like turn on G5? Because like me and her are close, and we're having like weird dream experiences. All right, let me see in the comment. Private chat. Sorry, it took a while for me to figure that one out. I'm not screen sharing.
So there's
Okay.
leg rest.
There's JD with his knives.
Yeah, I was just going to say. Okay, onion, the beef.
Yeah, I've made that one. It's got beans and onions and just kind of a soup kind of thing I made. Stew.
I don't have a pressure cooker though.
This one I'm using here is over 100 years old.
That's why they were built to last back then.
What
So
kind
they
of person are you? All these numbers. Okay.
Yeah, that's after it's cooked, so you can.
Just need someone to rehearse with. It's really just best.
Oh, nice.
So is it tender?
Oh yeah, very tender.
Yeah. And by doing this, what you could preserve it for longer?
Yeah, it's canned. You know, you know, you can go and buy canned meat like
just released
for
Is
years.
that what they call
for years? What?
Is that like what they would call a corned beef, or is that that's smoked meat? Corned beef. You ever heard that term?
Yeah, it's similar to corned. When they talk about corned beef, they're talking about back when they did that, they would can meat, which is what I'm doing, very similar to corned beef. The corn part of it is actually they were using rock salt, and the salt particles were about the size of a kernel of corn. And that's why they called it corned beef, but it's just salted beef.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll stay in those jars for years and years.
Wow.
And it's just in a state of suspended animation.
But gross in my mind. Years. Like, pass me some of that 5-year meat.
It's just as good. It's just as good when you open it up the day you put it in there. It is amazing.
Do you see this one here? The Vindaloo one? Is my screen up? Yeah, the screen's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a great recipe. How come it says I'm not connected to the internet? Hope the live stream doesn't cut. Give me a sec. It's a recipe for Vindaloo. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's Indian recipe, and on the video we're cooking it, me and Michelle, but I showed the recipe on it. I don't remember. We haven't had it in a long time, but if you like Indian cuisine, something spicy, it's there. It's not like a curry taste, so it's not, but it's really good. Okay, I hope this works again. I won't show the whole thing there, but this was when it used to be Fast Keto Prime.
All right, guys. So the spices that you're going to need to make this specific recipe, that is my wife's special recipe, so it's copyrighted to her, is the first thing is cloves, and then cilantro, black peppers.
The reason I'm not filming my wife is because she doesn't like to be on camera.
This one after is coriander, fennel seed, chili peppers, and ginger. Also, you will need 2 cans of whole tomatoes, or you can make those fresh.
Or you could shut up, Jason, and just put the recipe so people can read it.
And next, you need pork. So you can
do it with anything. You can do it. I rather with beef, but pork, beef, lamb. You could even use lamb.
Okay.
I mean, you could use chicken. I'm not, but nah. I mean, Indian chicken would be more like butter chicken recipe, which we can also make. We also make that, which is really weird because it's made with cashews. I don't know.
Oh.
I was like, okay, like it's all like mostly cashews in the damn thing. And I'm like, maybe they should warn people when they order butter chicken that it's full of cashews. Maybe there's recipes that don't have it, but it tastes exactly like the restaurant one.
make it beef, pork, lamb. I mean, I guess even chicken. So
I just said exactly what I said 5 years ago about the chicken. Maybe chicken.
we're making it with pork. So you just cut the pork into cubes. You can leave some of the fat. It'll make it less dry. And you can throw in some beef cubes if you like. And you could do this in a slow cooker too over a long period of time. That's going to make it really, tender. Okay, my wife says it makes it dry, so don't do it. This is her special recipe, and I'll take a picture of it also. So again, you need 2 cloves.
Anyways, you can check a snap of that. I love this recipe.
Okay.
Kind of like toast all the stuff. I think we use this because to cook it you need like a crap load of fat. Like it would be really expensive you'd be like shoving bowls of basically bowls of rendered duck fat or something. So I think we used avocado, but it's not a high heat, right? So it's a low heat, so I'm not as worried. That's it. Storage market.
And you serve it on what?
Pardon?
You serve it on what? Rice or just like that?
Yeah. You could serve it on like a whatever basmati rice or something. I don't know the names of them. Not just regular rice.
Basmati or something.
Yeah, it's probably basmati, and that's it. Yeah. There's also a recipe I can post with cabbage. It's like other spices and stuff like that. That's usually what we cook, a nice side dish. That's when I definitely cheat because the rice is wonderful with it. So
Okay, so your canned meat, do you put it in a dark, cool place or in the fridge?
I put it in a dark, cool place. It doesn't have to go in the fridge. It will stay, you know, as long as, I mean, it could be hot. I'm sure it just wouldn't, if it was in a hot environment, I'm sure it would decrease the value somewhat over time, but it's not something, I mean, it's just like, have you ever seen potted meat, in a can? Or, there's corned beef that you can buy in a can. It's canned meat. So once it's canned, and in this case, we're not canning it in a tin can or a metal can. We're canning it in a glass mason jar.
Yeah.
So it's just like any other canned meat. It will stay good. In fact, it'll stay good longer than the canned meat in the metal can because it's canned in glass, and so the glass is not reacting in any way with the ingredients.
Okay. I shall try this.
oh, my back, I'm getting old.
So I'm going to sign off.
All right, see you, Margaret.
All right. Thank
Bye,
you. Bye-bye.
À la prochaine.
Bye, little girl. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. What's your daughter's name again? What's your name?
Maya.
Maya? Okay, I'll remember. I'm horrible with names. If I go, I don't know, for people with bad that are bad with names, is when you meet somebody outside of work, and you're like, I've been working with this person for 8 years, and I still don't know their name. So then you're trying to be polite, and you're like, this is my wife, and
Yeah.
we work together. It's really
Yeah, introduce yourself to him because I can't remember his name.
yeah, I know exactly. I told you the one about they were calling me Scott. Do you know that story?
Yeah, I remember. And you let it go on and on and on.
Yeah, then it became like a Seinfeld episode where I had you've watched Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Did you watch a lot of Seinfeld when it used to play? What
Yeah,
was
I
George Costanza, Art Vandelay? Remember
Yeah.
that was like his fake name. We had the whole seasons like actually on DVD and stuff like that. That's what I was talking about before. If they're changing all of the these classic books and stuff, just rewriting words to make it more inclusive. These people that buy all of their books, on tablets and stuff, they're the ebooks, I guess, or something. So then it's like, oh,
Right.
you own it, but it's like, yeah, they can switch anything they want probably just with a snap of the finger. So then you have this tablet that's being altered, for social engineering. It's like, no, buy the book, keep the actual. It's like records and stuff like that. People that download music and stuff like that. It could just be like gone in a second.
Yeah, that's why they want everything to be electronic, because they can erase the entire culture with a click of a mouse.
Yeah, it's like the book burning back in the day, but on steroids. It's like
that's an understatement. Yep.
yeah. Oh yeah. Good times. Oh yeah. Well, it's 10:50, so I'm gonna say. Oh, sorry guys, I didn't even know that. I was talking to you guys. I didn't realize I didn't have the camera. Sorry about that. This weird bald guy with a blue blob behind talking to you.
Yeah, so there you are. He's a real person.
Wow.
Well, it was nice chatting with you.
You missed the beard. She missed the beard. She didn't see me with the big beard.
Do you remember him with the beard?
No, I don't think I saw him with a beard.
I'll show her the beard. You have
Show-
videos with the beard.
So the worst one, is on the YouTube short when I'm saying I'm a man. Masculine toxicity or something.
Yeah.
Literally, it was like 47 seconds or something. Me just sitting there going, I'm a man. I got a beard. And I got like this. And somebody literally was offended underneath and wrote like, take your attitude somewhere else. And I'm going like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
People
Just
don't,
did a skit.
Yeah,
people don't know when you're joking anymore, right?
Yeah, I think so. All right, man.
Okay.
Have a great
Thanks,
night.
Jason.
See you guys.
See you next time.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. See ya. All right. And that's that. Have a good night and God bless and eat animal food.